And I thought he was just such an incredible role model for all of us about finding the good in people and finding the good and exciting things in your life and taking the best advantage of it that you possibly could.
Hundreds gathered today outside Coleman Coliseum to remember the life and the legacy of Luke Ratliff, a.k.a. Fluffopotamus. He died suddenly on Friday night due to complications of COVID-19 at the age of 23. The senior from Wadesboro, North Carolina, was the president of the Alabama basketball student section Crimson Chaos, and he was the biggest superfan you've ever met. Good evening, I'm William Galloway. I'll have a tribute to Luke shortly, but let's show you some highlights of today's action in the world of sports because that's what Luke would have wanted you to see. So here we go. Alabama gymnastics in the regional championships today seeking to advance. In the top row in the middle of your screen, you'll see Emily Gaskins on the uneven bars. She scored a season high of 9.9 today. It was a great ride. And later, on the left side of your screen, here's Luisa Blanco continuing her great weekend. She exits the beam for a score of 9.9. That's her 7th score of 9.9 or higher in a row on the beam. Great job there. Alabama scores a 197.575 and clinches a spot in Fort Worth, Texas to compete for the national championship. That'll be on April 16th and 17th. On the diamond, Alabama softball looking to close out this series and sweep Texas A&M today. Let's go to the bottom of the first. Bama down 2-0. Bailey Hemphill changing that. She sends that one deep over the center field wall. A 3-run shot. That's her 7th long ball of the season. Bama goes up 3-2, but the Tide would fall behind again. And Alyssa Brown comes up with the answer. It's a shot to the gap. That brings 2 runners home to tie the game at 5. So here we go. It's getting interesting. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Kaylee Tao sends this one. Gone, gone, gone. See you later over the wall. A grand slam. Bama takes the lead 10-5, and the Crimson Tide go on to win this one 14-6 over the Aggies. The Alabama baseball program honored Luke Ratliff today with a video on the big screen before the game, a fitting tribute. In the bottom of the 4th, Alabama's William Hameter knocks one out of the right field fence. That's his first home run ever in an Alabama uniform. The Crimson Tide go up 1-0, but there are a little bit of struggles. Connor Pavoloni hits a double, and this brings in 2 runs for the Vols. That makes the score 4-1 for Tennessee. So Jim Jarvis trying to be the answer for the Crimson Tide. Here's Jarvis reaching on an error. That brings home TJ Reeves, and it makes the score 4-2. Tennessee still on top. And Tennessee pulled away in this one. They won 8-4. in 11 innings. Let's take a look now at the final 4 scores from today. In the first game, Baylor took care of Houston 78-59, and in the second game, Gonzaga took down the UCLA Bruins. That one just finished 93-90 in overtime. Well, I like to think that Gonzaga basketball and Alabama football are a lot alike. They're both currently undefeated. And did you know that the Zags guard Jalen Suggs also played football in high school? Yeah, that's right. He was pretty good, too. Suggs was Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball in the state of Minnesota. He was a 5-star in both sports. Coach Saban even remembers him, and he said that he remembers the recruiting cycle, and he remembers what type of player Suggs was. Take a look.
Well, I vaguely do recall him as a player, and he was a really good player. He's a really good basketball player, you know, too. So I can't argue with anybody about the choice that he made in terms of, you know, what he's doing with his future and how he's trying to, you know, build a career in athletics at least. So he was a fine young man. He was a good leader. He was a very talented player. And, you know, I enjoy watching him play. You always like playing guys you think you know a little bit. So I really enjoy watching him play, and those guys have a good team, no doubt.
All right, here we go. They don't teach you in school how to handle something like this in journalism school, in college, and life in general, especially at a young age like right now. But I was fortunate to know Luke Ratliff personally. I spent a lot of time traveling the country with him, watching college basketball, watching Alabama compete at the highest stage and the highest level. He was more than a super fan. He was a friend to me and to everyone, and he's someone that I'll miss very much. Luke came to Alabama by way of recommendation from his neighbors back home in North Carolina. I asked him years ago, why did you come to Alabama? Why'd you choose it? And he laughed. He said, well, they took me. And not only did Alabama take him, They embraced him. He was studying public relations as a student, but he didn't keep his head in the books. His eyes were on the court at all times. He attended over 40 consecutive Alabama basketball games, and he traveled all over the Southeast to watch the Tide play. Brian Hodgson and Antoine Petway presented him with a tailored plaid jacket last season for his dedicated fandom. And he wasn't just a fan to them, he was family. Last night, an outpouring of support came in from all over the country on Twitter. And it was something that was a fitting tribute for a guy like Fluff, who loved to tweet more than the way that John Petty loved to shoot a three-pointer. Fluff will always be remembered as a friend, a legend, and a leader.
Here's a guy that was shy, that you know, just like the rest of us, had his challenges and his ups and downs, and he tackled those things and ended up being a leader with our student body. And it helped him. And it helped our university, it helped our students.
All the best to the Ratliff family and the Alabama community right now in these trying times. Thank you for watching WVUA 23 Sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.